not on the field, court, or ice. You are on the couch. From PG to DC, this is Coaching from the Couch with your host, C. Wall, delivering coverage for all DC sports teams from the hometown perspective. Nats, Skins, Mystics, DC United, Washington Wizards, Caps, Bowie State.
My name's C-Wall, I'm a PG girl. Down for my skins, I don't know if you heard. If you like watching sports, then I am your girl. Sit down on the couch if you're not on the field. Cold on the ice, pick any sport that you want. Know that I cover it tight. What would you like? From baseball to football and more. The list can go on the whole night. Big shouts out to my HBCU fam. Never forget who I am. Through the wins and the losses, the highs and the lows. We gotta stay strong, so I stay 10 toes. Make the competition back. The way I kick it, make them mad, man. See all that we live and direct. Sit back on the couch and relax. Come on.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Coaching from the Couch. This is your weekly DMV sports update, and I am your host, C-Wall, checking in as I do each and every single week to give you all the latest and greatest information on all things DMV sports. I know that you all are already checked in. Mama Waller has absolutely checked in already. And if you are watching, you want to hit the love button and you want to make sure you are sharing this show with your DMV sports loving family and friends. We have a full show for you this evening, as we always do. But before we get into all of that, you know, we have to remind you that this is a live Bowie television recording. So everything we see and do here will be on Bowie television each and every single day from 1:30 to 2:30. So I hope you all are able to check that if you are local to the Washington metropolitan area. Has everyone checked in? Everyone checked in. Has everyone shared this show in your favorite group? Tagged in your favorite DMV sports fans? We have some college hoops to discuss. Maryland and Georgetown. We're going to talk a little bit about the CIAA Basketball Tournament coming up in Baltimore in February. Good amount of Wizards conversation. Good amount of Commanders conversation. So you want to make sure if you know any of Maryland, Georgetown. Oh, wait, I forgot the Caps. A Caps update, quick Caps update. Wizards for certain, Commanders for certain. Fans, you absolutely want to get them plugged into the conversation. Are you all ready to jump right on into it? Go ahead and hit that love button, drop a fire emoji if you are ready to go, and make sure you're tagging your folks in because we have a lot to discuss. So, Maryland's men's basketball, they are currently 11-6, 2-4 in the Big Ten. They are hosting Michigan right now as we are chatting. The Terps lost to Michigan by 35 points on New Year's Day. Okay, so that's the worst loss since joining the Big Ten. Even though Maryland is a slight favorite in this game, 35 points, maybe that went under the radar, including for myself, because the Commanders were still playing and it was New Year's Day, it was a lot going on, but that's horrible. So hopefully that does not happen again. As the men are playing, also the women are playing. Maryland women Terrapins basketball sitting at 5th in the Big Ten. They are in Wisconsin taking on the Wisconsin Badgers again right now as we're all chatting here. So, hey, hopefully they both come away with the dub. Are there any Georgetown Hoyas fans locked in? If there are any Georgetown Hoyas fans locked in, I'm going to say simply this right now about the Georgetown Hoyas, and that is, and I hinted to this a few weeks ago on the show, and that is simply this: sooner or later, we're all going to have a tough conversation about the Georgetown Hoyas. Earlier this week, they went up against Villanova, and for a split second, you thought maybe Georgetown is going to win this basketball game, but they did not. Yet again. And I think the tough conversation is going to have to be had around. Let me just go ahead and say what nobody wants to really talk about, if Patrick Ewing is a good fit for the organization and for the program. We're going to keep watching this because I know that is a tough conversation for several different reasons. He is such a staple in Georgetown athletics overall. Big East athletics is tough. It's a tough conversation, but somewhere along the lines it's going to have to be had. And we're going to leave that there in the hopes that things can turn around so that we don't have to have the tough conversation. All right. Any CIAA grads in the building? Any CIAA supporters? HBCUs, stand up. The CIAA Basketball Tournament will tip off February 21st through the 25th at the newly renamed and renovated CFG Bank Arena in Baltimore. This is the nation's oldest historically Black athletic conference. Okay. Remember when the CIAA tournament was huge in Charlotte? Well, that same CIAA tournament is now in Baltimore, Maryland. So, hey, folks, locally, you need to be straight up in the building all week long. They have so many activities. I want to say this because I really want to know if you all knew something. This year's tournament, right, is the unveiling of the CFG Arena, a $200 million renovation backed by celebrity investors, including Kevin Durant, Pharrell Williams, and Ray Lewis. Did you all know that? Did you all know that? That's a big deal. And not a lot of people are talking about it. So next time, and when you get a chance, this is why we share this kind of information. You're going to always hear this good stuff on Seawall Sports and Entertainment, Bowie Television. I'm going to repeat that because that's some business that I really need y'all to go run and tell. That CFG Arena in Baltimore, the $200 million renovation backed by Kevin Durant, Pharrell Williams, and Ray Lewis. Y'all are going to hear me say that a whole lot because I'm going to be honest and say I haven't heard hardly anybody talking about that. And if it's one thing you all know, we're big on in this space here is making sure the positive news stories get told. And that's a big deal. Okay. And we're also, so you all know, Seawall Sports and Entertainment is a media partner with the CIAA Basketball Tournament this year. Yay. So you're going to be hearing a lot about CIAA as we're approaching the basketball tournament. We're really excited. We want to get people jazzed. We want to get people ready to go. So you're going to see us posting and really talking about all the things happening that week. Community events. They have so much going on top of the 22 games featured that entire week. So there's Fan Fest, High School Education Day, a Career Expo, Super Saturday. There's tons of community service activities, the CIAA Hall of Fame breakfast, and yes, because I know if you're watching, you're saying, oh, the CIAA is known for their parties. They absolutely are. You better bet it. And it's still going to be lit. Absolutely fire emojis all the way around. The CIAA Legends of Hip Hop Party, step shows, alumni party. Artists include Dougie Fresh, Lil Mo, DJ Cool, Rare Essence, Kid Capri, Slick Rick, KRS-One, Chubb Rock, and more. So, y'all come to CIAA or not? I feel as though you need to be there. So you should absolutely try to be in the building. So you're going to hear a ton of updates. Seriously. From me, you're going to see them all on the social media pages because, again, media partner, extra excited, and it's in our backyard, folks. So we should absolutely be there. Okay, Caps fans, where are you? Check in, Washington Capitals fans. Quick update on the Caps as they begin their 3-game road trip today in Arizona against the Coyotes. The Capitals have won 8 of their last 9 road games. So they are 8-1-0, dating back to December the 5th. During that span, the Caps have outscored their opponents 39-20 on the road. So, love button, fire emoji for all Caps fans. We're going to keep updating and keep you all abreast of everything going on with the Washington Capitals. But we got to talk about the Wizards. And then when we talk about the Wizards, after that, we're going to talk about the Commanders. So listen, if you got any Wizards, tag your Wizards and share it with them, place it in their inbox. And absolutely, if you have some Commanders, family, and friends, you absolutely want to make sure they are locked in on this information as well, because this is a big deal. Okay. And I see the First String podcast has linked in from our YouTube family. They already know the drill to say hello to Mama Waller. And did y'all drop a hello to Pops Waller as well? Yes, First String podcast just did. You all make sure that you do the same, because we always know that Pops Waller is somewhere watching. Wizards fans, check in. Check in, Wizards fans. Let's chat. Why don't we? Why don't we chat a little bit? First things first, Wizards fans. I think some of the talk of this week has been around the John Wall interview, where he's sharing all of the details of his trade. Also, on sportsillustrated.com, Fan Nation, on Inside the Wizards staff writer Karita Parks also gave a detailed description of that week. Everything from the media press conference that Tommy Shepard held with media, all of us, saying that there were no plans to trade John Wall. From that to his turkey Thanksgiving assist event that he was always having in the DC community, and had to have a straight face, and having to get through that, to the ultimate trade that Tommy Shepard said there was no plans of it ever happening. So, have you all heard that, Wizards fans? Would love to hear your reactions on that. Drop it in the chat. Let me know what you think. A couple things I want to say about that. One, I'm glad John shared his truth. I'm glad that he felt comfortable and calm and confident enough to share that publicly, without all the emotions. He was just talking. He was just sharing. Here's what happened. Here, the whole trade situation. And so for that, that's great. You got to share your truth. You got to let it out. And it's nothing to hide. I mean, it is what it is. And, hey, it happened. So that was his side. If you have not checked it out, definitely take an opportunity to do so. It's raw for certain, but it was his truth, and it was what happened from his vantage point, and he shared that with no issues. Also, it just reminds us that organizations do what they feel is best. Yes, the general manager came out and told all of us that there were no plans to trade John at all. They were looking forward to him continuing to be a part of the Wizards family, all of the things that you want to hear. And so when not even by the end of the week, that is a different thing. I know that's a tough pill to swallow for everybody. But it just reminds you that business decisions are made and front offices do what they want and they do what they feel is best for the organization and not necessarily for the player. So just keep those things in mind when you do hear, when you are watching press conferences and you are listening to things. And it also is the reminder of where there's smoke, there's fire. There was a lot more detail about that pending trade from Houston media than there was from local DC media. And I'm pretty sure that was by design, right? We were kept in the dark. We didn't know what was happening other than there's all these grumblings. Houston media is swirling about this potential trade. And we didn't know anything other than trusting what was shared with us, which was there was no plans to trade John Wall. So it's a real life depiction of what happens, right? And if you haven't checked it out, make sure that you do. Here's something else I wanted to mention. A lot of people have been, and we've talked about this on Inside the Wizards as well. There's been a lot of conversations about trades. We know that Kyle Kuzma has been the kind of the focal point of trades, and we've shared that on the Inside the Wizards site. Also, what we shared on the Inside the Wizards site is the conversations around Rui Hachimura and the potential trade that was going to happen with the Phoenix Suns and other teams as well, that other teams said no to because they wanted more resources. So yeah, it kind of, and I, it is definitely, and I see a comment here in the chat from Cameron Mingo. I mean, we've been clocking it. We know also going back to John Wall, so not necessarily John Wall per se, but we know that point guard position is still one that it hasn't necessarily been filled by the likes of a John Wall. So our colleague Neil caught this the other night, and some of you all may have seen this. Now, over the weekend, I did not. Well, was it over the weekend? I was last at the arena on Friday. All of the Inside the Wizards team held it down though on Monday for the Wizards Golden State game. But this is not a so clear picture, but if you follow our media colleague, Neil, who's the dopest, coolest guy, one of the dopest, coolest people ever in the Wizards media, he was able to get a picture of this, or folks got a picture of this, of Rui just standing over by himself. I hate to say it, but it does seem like this is what's happening. And maybe he's already been communicated with to know that maybe he's on the trading block. I don't know. I did not, I can't say that is why he was standing off to the side. But what we do know is that he has been the topic of conversation from Wizards front office and offering him up at the very least in various deals. Those conversations were looming and were happening when he was injured, when he was out during that 10-game losing streak that the Wizards experienced. And remember, Rui came back and he was hot. He warmed up a little bit in that first game back against Utah. Then he was just on fire for sure. And we all know that this is a contract year for Rui as well. So look out. NBA trade deadline. And while some of the trades that the Wizards have had, maybe some of them have been a little forgettable here, there, and everywhere, they have been active in trades in the past, right? Especially in recent years. They do move things. If it's not right before the trade deadline, they have made moves in the summertime. So things do happen. And I'm pretty certain that the Wizards will be active. I don't think there will be zero moves made. There's going to be something. And we all know, because of the conversations that have been had, somebody's getting gone. So keep your eyes open, Wizards fans. This is definitely something to watch and to be tracking. Now, Commanders fans. Are there any Commanders fans on checking this thing out live? Let's go ahead and chit chat a little bit about the Commanders while we still have some time in the show. First things first, Commanders fans. Deron Payne has officially made the Pro Bowl. You all know that he was a Pro Bowl alternate. Aaron Donald is not going to play. So Deron Payne, you're up, buddy. And so super deserving. So again, now officially the Commanders have 5 players playing in the Pro Bowl, but they're not in the playoffs. And that's unfortunate. I'm very sad about that. And I see your comment, Mazdak, and it's just unfortunate. I don't know. I feel like I need to go and look at the numbers and understand what's happening here, because I would think that he is a top priority for the Commanders to sign. I just feel that way. And try to keep this team together as much as possible, especially if Ron Rivera is coming back. If he's coming back, then he needs to try to keep his core together as much as he possibly can on that defensive line and try to change some things and do some things differently from a coaching perspective in next season. So that would be unfortunate if they weren't able to keep him. Now, everybody knows the Commanders are in the hunt for an offensive coordinator. Currently, and this is per Adam Schefter that I got, that we all saw this information, it's 10 teams are looking for offensive coordinators. 10 teams. The Ravens, the Buccaneers, the Chargers, the Commanders, the Tennessee Titans, the LA Rams, the New York Jets, the New England Patriots, the Indianapolis Colts, and the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, I'm counting. It's 10. That's a lot of teams vying for the top talent from an offensive coordinator perspective. And I don't know where prospects see the Commanders' offense is. You know what? I really want to sink my teeth into this offense, right? Now, I could be completely wrong, right? But let's go back and really look at these teams, right? Ravens, Bucks, Chargers, Commanders, Titans, Rams, Jets, Patriots, Colts, and Cardinals, right? If you are an offensive coordinator, of course, if it were me, you always want to think about where you're going to live. If you got a family, where you want to, where your family wants to reside, where they want to be, what's most important to them. Of course, what environment would you like to be in, right? The Commanders on the brink of new ownership. If I forget to say something about that in about the 4 or 5 minutes we have left, please remind me to comment on that as well. But I would think, and this is me being completely objective, right, that this Commanders offense would be intriguing to want to. I would love to write plays and make up play designs for this offense as it currently stands. If you're able to truly beef up the offensive line, there's some things you can do with this offense. Really think about it. You still got some track stars in your wide receiver core. Everybody knows the running back tandem. I told you all from the beginning that running back room is mean, and they are. The group that was completely, totally underutilized was the tight end group. The tight end group was totally underutilized. So you have so many options of things you could do to and creative play designs that you could do to really trick up, the opposing defense, using your offensive weapons. I would think that an offensive coordinator could easily say the Commander's offense might be a little bit of fun. This could be fun, right? You already have the list of who your opponents are, okay? And, hey, let's just give credit where it's due, y'all. I know it hurts. But hey, Giants, Eagles, Cowboys, making it to the divisional round. I would like my flowers, everybody. You can drop a fire emoji or a flower emoji in the chat if you like, because I told you all the Eagles were a problem. I told you that last year. I said it in free agency, and I said it after the draft. I said the Eagles have upset me because they have done so well this offseason. They made it clear where they were headed, and they weren't playing. They really weren't. So, hey, kudos to them. Giants are a bit of the surprise. Cowboys, I'm not so surprised at all, actually, with where they've gone and how far they've gotten. So the NFC East is back on the map, so to speak. I know folks will say, well, their schedule was easy. Well, hey, if the schedule was easy, then you did what you were supposed to do. You handled business. There's that. But knowing where those NFC East teams sit, knowing that it is no longer the NFC least, and knowing how close the Commanders were to making the playoffs, I would think that somebody would say, I want to try my hand with the Commanders, right? You got a couple of vets on offense, with Terry McLaurin, with Logan Thomas, who was extremely underutilized, and I would take my chances. I really would. DC ain't a bad place. You're gonna live over there in Ashburn. It's nice over there in Loudoun County. So why not give it a shot, is what I'm saying. But 10 teams needing offensive coordinators, that's a lot of competition. That's a lot of options. So that is something that everyone has to watch closely. And please don't say nobody wants to come to Washington. Listen, folks got options. They got 10 of them. So this is going to be interesting to see how this turns out. While with the time left, let me say this about the ownership thing. I know it has been out publicly that there hasn't been a bid over $7 million. That's hard for me to believe. But what I do believe is, and go ahead and make it public that there's not been any bids over $7 million, then that way, folks who want to swoop in and make a larger bid knows what their price point is. That's the only thing I can gather, because it should be well over $7 million. 7 billion, excuse me. 7 billion. So keep your eyes open on that. I think people might have put in those initial bids trying to bluff a little bit, and we'll see what happens. All right? Keep your eyes open, because that's definitely a storyline to watch. I dropped my jaw. I was like, what? Not over 7 billion? That might be smoke and mirrors to make sure those higher bids get in. You all, we've made it another week with your weekly DMV Sports Update. So you all know some of these shows may be in and out because I got to travel a lot in the coming months and weeks. So We'll try to keep you all updated on when we are having a show and when we are not on a Thursday. It kind of depends on just where I am in the atmosphere. So you all listen. Thank you as always for checking in and being active and engaged in the show. And I will be seeing you guys again soon.
You're not on the field, court, or ice. You're on the couch. From PG to DC, this is Coaching from the Couch with your host, C. Wall, delivering coverage for all DC sports teams from the hometown perspective. Nats, Skins, Mystics, DC United, Washington Wizards, Caps, Bowie State.
My name's C-Ball, I'm a PG girl. Down for my skins, I don't know if you heard. If you like watching sports, then I am your girl. Sit down on the couch if you not on the field. Cold on the ice, pick any sport that you want. Know that I cover it tight. What would you like? From baseball to football and more. The list can go on the whole night. Big shouts out to my HBCU fam. Never forget who I am through the wins and the losses, the highs and the lows. We gotta stay strong, so I stay 10 toes. Make the competition back. The way I kick it, make them mad, man. See all that we live and direct. Sit back on the couch and relax. Come on.